he like comes walking up and I'm like, oh God, here we go. This guy's police. He's going to be like, okay, surprise, you're arrested for serving a bunch of alcohol without a liquor license over here in the court. Hello and welcome everyone to episode 130 of the Mashup, the best bourbon conversation you're going to hear all week long. We're your hosts, Stephen, Anthony, and Kenny. Hello, Kenny.
Hello, Anthony.
Yeah, we're Stephen-less tonight, but that's just due to a scheduling issue. We're going to be back in the saddle again soon, all three of us, but for now, you're here with the smooth tones of Mr. Anthony. and Kenny. I can't wait for you to come in for that.
Well, I can't wait for Stephen to come back.
Why's that?
Because I really want to talk about that experience we had at distillery.
It wasn't until you told me that I didn't realize how exclusive an experience that was to add another layer of mystery to it. I had no idea. I just assumed that you and others had done it, but apparently you hadn't. So
it was my first.
All right.
And I have got multiple friends who've been in bourbon for 5, 7, 8 years.
Ooh.
That have still not had that experience.
You ever like, it feels like the first time. Okay.
So come on back, Steven.
Come
so
on
we can
through.
talk about it.
Come on through. So another experience that I want to talk about that was a couple weeks ago was our annual Halloween table, which let me set the stage for you guys real quick here. Kenny's got a big smile. So this year we were on the fence about whether we wanted to do our annual Halloween table. And for those who might just be finding us, for the last 2 years, we had done a Halloween table where we set up a bunch.
We as in who?
Me. Well, the first year it was me, Stephen, and Michael.
Okay.
The second year it was just me and Stephen.
There we go. So our listeners to know.
Yeah. And then the third year, which we were on the fence, we were waffling about. The thing is Stephen had been traveling so much, he kind of wanted to do trick-or-treat with his kids. You know, my wife was like, it'd be nice one time if you come around trick-or-treat with us. And so we were talking, and Kenny's like, what'd you say, man?
I'll go man the table.
He's like, I'll go man the table. He's like, what do I got to do? My kids are out of the house. And we're like, yeah, it's a brilliant idea. And so Kenny, like, you literally had no context because you'd never been to the Halloween table before.
It was so awkward at first.
So I actually wasn't even over anywhere near. So it was up in Stephen's court, right there, and where he lives in his neighborhood at like dead ends into a court, like a cul-de-sac area.
Yeah.
And so
Stephen was cool. His neighbors were cool. It was really fun. It was really cool.
Yeah. And so we set up the table down there. We throw a bunch of bottles of bourbon on there. I think we had at one time up to 8 bottles, but and then we just wait for the trick-or-treaters to come, and we take care of the parents, right?
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah. So, Kenny, tell me about the experience, because I didn't get to come over there until later, and I know Stephen didn't really either. So it was really about the Kenny Mills Mashup Halloween table this year.
Yeah. No, it was awkward at first because I'm like, people are looking weird. I'm like, yeah, I know this is weird. We have bottles of bourbon, and your kids are walking by. But then fortunately a few of them had come last year and the year before, so they were like, oh yeah, familiar with it, but it was cool talking about the podcast, talking about some of the birds we had on the table. Mm-hmm. There was one which fortunately Shannon was there.
Okay.
She has the gift of gab.
So your wife was there too. I forgot. Yes. She came man the table with us. Very good.
Fortunately she was there because she helped smooth things over and really talk well.
Oh.
But there was one I was like, Shannon, I don't think this chick's 21 years old.
Oh no!
And
don't say that.
Well, I mean, I think she was. I think she ended up having a kid there.
Okay,
she's looked really young.
Yeah.
And Shannon's like, well, I don't have a liquor license. So I'm not carding nobody. I'm like, all right, here we go.
This is Kentucky.
But no, it was really cool. A lot of people. It was actually nice. It was cool hearing a lot of people talk about how they listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
Other ones they really liked. The bourbons we had, and we talked, it was a neat thing of bourbon. Like you had the RD1 that was, what was that finish you gave me?
That was the
maple finish.
Maple finish, yeah.
So we had RD1 maple finish. So that's like perfect for somebody that's honestly not really into bourbon.
Right. It's very sweet.
It tastes more like a cocktail. It's a sweet.
Right.
Boom. We had the blackened X. Was it X?
Yeah, it's a blackened by Wes Henderson. So it was a series.
This was
from
the Metallica
Blackened.
one.
Yeah, Metallica Blackened was the second in that series.
We had that really good OKI.
Right.
That is the blend of like 7 different mash bills. Mm-hmm. Some is high rye and low rye bourbon, some rye and some American whiskey, corn whiskey, whatever. It's like a blend of a bunch of stuff. So it was cool. There were a few people there at the table that came up to the table that were like me and you.
Oh, they knew the bourbon.
They're into bourbon, the bourbon nerds.
Yeah.
And they all pointed to the OKI.
Oh, really?
And then the surprising one for that night was that blackened.
Really?
It surprised me, Shannon, and a lot of people.
Right.
Because I'm like, to me, it's a corny, cheesy story.
Yep.
And I'm like, a lot of times you have something that corny, that cheesy, you're really having to come up with that because the juice won't stand on its own.
Right.
That was actually very good bourbon.
And you know what's funny about that? I think that series is underrated because I really enjoyed the first one of that series, if you remember correctly, was the Willet Rye aged in, I think, Madeira casks or something like that.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, oh, this is just some terrible stuff that Willet didn't want, so they just gave it over to them to age or whatever. And this was the second one in the series, and it was some kind of I don't know, bourbon aged in white port casks or something like that.
Yeah, it was white
port casks. Yeah. So I mean, surprising as all hell, huh?
It was that. No, that was the surprise of the night.
Yeah.
So the whiskey nerds like us, they came up to the table. That was their big surprise of the night. And that was mine and Shannon's surprise of the night.
Wow, very good.
Yeah, it was really cool.
So I have to tell this story real quick. So I finally, Kenny, remember he sends me a message. He goes, I think we're going to run out of bourbon over here.
I was like, dude, we already killed 2 bottles.
Right in the table. So like I had just got done trick-or-treating with my kids and I'm like, I got to haul ass over there. So I throw some bourbon in a box and literally run a street over because I'm like, I don't want to run out of bourbon at the bourbon table. And when I get there, we're hanging out, chatting, people coming over, getting pours and stuff like that. And then do you remember what happened? That one gentleman approached?
Yes.
Lee,
yes.
So this gentleman over here in the cul-de-sac, Lee, approaches us, and the way he walked up to me, he's like just standing there.
Your eyes.
He's got
Your look on your face.
Yeah, because he's got this jacket on. It's like a bigger jacket because it was really cold that night. And so he like comes walking up, and I'm like, oh God, here we go. This guy's police. He's going to be like, okay, surprise, you're arrested for serving a bunch of alcohol without a liquor license over here in the court. Instead, he says, Mashup guys, like that. He goes, the Mashup guys? And we're like, yeah. He's like, I got something for you. And I'm like, okay.
He reaches into his
jacket.
And we're like, ooh.
And I'm like, oh no. And he pulls out a bottle of, I think it was Pogue Master Select.
Yeah.
And he was like, this is from where I'm from. I think that's what he said, if I remember correctly. Maysville. He said, this is Maysville bourbon. And we're like, awesome. And he's like, and I want you guys to have it for the podcast. Oh man, that was an amazing moment. Oh, that's so nice of you. We were all like really appreciative.
So your eyes, when he said that, I could see your eyes and that look on your face. But then when he reached in and pulled out a bottle of bourbon, you could see the relief on your face. You could see it, dude. It was so
I thought
hilarious.
dude was going to pull out a badge and tell me we're coming around to arrest you. You're the ringleader.
Yeah. So I kind of stepped back. Like, I don't know. What is Mashup?
I never heard of this. Yeah, it's Kenny. Wait to have you over there manning the table until. But yeah, that was really nice of him, and we appreciate that. And we will definitely be doing a review of that very soon.
I would say when we get Steven back, we can talk about that one special pick.
Definitely.
And do that bottle.
So we appreciate that, Lee, and we appreciate everyone that came out and hung out with the Mashup again on Halloween. What a wonderful time.
It was fun. And Steven's neighbors, man, they can cook, or he can cook, his wife can cook. So I ate a lot of good food that night.
Always good grub over
really
there.
Good.
Big shout out to them.
Speaking of shout outs, I have got 2 things to bring up, Mr. Ant Dog.
All right.
One is I believe somebody has got their AARP card.
Oh, come on, man. Does
somebody have a birthday?
Oh, man. Yeah. Thank you, brother. Yeah. So turning 42, it's like just anything else. Like, what are you going to do now?
Well, happy belated birthday.
Thank you, brother. Yeah. I don't want anybody to know what it was, but it was very, very well. It may have been yesterday. Okay.
And the second one is I believe we had a review.
We did. We had a really nice review, and this one came to us from Apple Podcasts, and the title of the review was My Favorite Podcast. And this came
It wasn't us, was it?
Yeah. This is us.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So Big Dub 1, he signed it too, so we'll get to that in a second. He said, I started my bourbon journey in May of 2022 with a trip to Louisville. I found your podcast shortly after that. After getting caught up by listening to every show, now I anxiously wait each Friday for the new one. These guys are great and very approachable on Instagram. Thank you for providing the show and taking time out of your busy lives to help people like me in our bourbon journeys. And the person that signed us was Drew W. We know Drew W. because he has been messaging with us on Instagram, and I think he just recently completed a trip to Kentucky with his friends where they did some bourbon trail stuff. So that's really, really nice.
Is Drew W. not Drew of Willett?
Oh, Drew of Willett. I didn't even think of that. Drew Willett gave us a 5-star review.
Thank you.
No, Drew, we really appreciate that, man. And anytime you got questions, you can always message us. We're happy to get back to you. I know it was a combo of me and Steven responding to you in real time. I actually had to message him and say, "Hey, are you responding? Am I going to respond?" Because both of us happened to be on Instagram at the same time. It was pretty funny. But
you all share the Instagram account?
Yeah. Do you want in on that too?
I do not.
I thought you were going to say I want in on it, but
no.
no, you're like, no, I got no desire.
That's like a joint Facebook account.
Oh yeah, you got one of those.
That's horrible.
No, it's good for us.
Okay.
Yeah, it's perfect. No, Steven and I, we get along great when it comes to the joint.
I'm not saying you don't
Instagram.
get along. I'm just saying think about people that have joint Facebook accounts.
That's usually like a married couple where somebody's thinking about worried about someone cheating on somebody, isn't it?
I'm just saying you all both got access to that. What's going on here?
So yeah, we appreciate that. And if you would like a shout out, please give us a review on Apple Podcasts, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you can reach us, and we'll give you a shout out the next time we record. So Kenny, we have a hot bottle tonight. This is a bottle that people are talking a lot about. They're paying a lot of money for on enthusiast markets. So go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, I'm excited about this one because people are talking about it a lot. I've had the previous year's versions and thought it was good, but not what they're hyping it up to be. So I am very excited tonight. So tonight we do have the Michter's 10-year-old Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey.
Woo, heater.
This one is ABV 47.2, so it's 94.4 proof. The mash bill is undisclosed, as in the source of the whiskey and everything is undisclosed. MSRP is $185, I believe. That's kind of, it had jumped a lot on MSRP, Anthony.
Yeah, it has actually. I think the first time I ever got a bottle of this, it was maybe like $130.
Okay.
And that was a couple years back, maybe 19.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this one has also drawn a lot of controversy in the enthusiast world, secondary market we call it here.
Yep.
This is the 23A0197. So there's an A, and I think even definitely a B, and I think there's even a C and a D.
Okay.
Supposedly the A is like the best tasting one.
All right.
But is that because somebody had a bunch of A's and that's how they marketed it to be the best tasting one on the secondary market, or what?
You never know. And plus A, I presume, is the first release, right?
Probably.
So that got the most hype because people, yeah. But I mean, this is age stated at 10 years, right?
But I've heard this year's is 14, 15 years old on this year's.
And how do you find something like that out, though? Like, where does somebody come along and say, like, do they know it's Dan McKee, right? Do they know Dan McKee? They call him up, like, Dan, what do you got? You got extra old juice in the Michter's 10? You just didn't want to change the label? What are you doing? I mean, how's that happen?
Well, part of it, potentially is just like Van Winkle Family Reserve Rye.
Right.
I've got 13, it says 13 years old. I've got Van Winkles that are 19-year-old rye. That particular year.
That's true, right?
Either they didn't want to change the label, didn't want to go through the whole process. They have their set label. This year's Eagle Rare 17 coming out.
Right.
Supposedly is 19, 20 years old.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They keep saying it's the oldest one in recent history.
So it's one of those things where this is Michter's 10, but it supposedly is 14, 15-year-old juice.
God, that's crazy. I mean, that kind of stuff is really interesting. But to me, Michter's is like a mystery brand.
No, they're totally mystery.
And here's the thing. Did you know, and I just recently realized this, so we in Kentucky know Michter's as a distillery or a sourcer, however you want to call it. I don't know if they're known more for sourcing or if they actually distill the liquid. But if you talk to someone who just got into bourbon like 2 years ago, you say like Michter's, they're going to go, yeah, the place in downtown Louisville, right? Or the place at Fort Nelson, right? They have two locations, which is downtown Louisville and Fort Nelson. Is that correct? They only have those two places?
I think so.
And if I understand things correctly, both of those places opened in 2019. And so how does a brand that just has two basically brand new, I won't want to call them tourist spots, like how do they have so much heritage and lineage to their brand? Isn't that a mystery that we don't know much about?
Have you not seen the Michter's King Tut Pyramid bottles from the 70s?
I have, but do you know where those came from?
I think those are Pennsylvania, I believe I've been told.
Right. So when I try to look into the history of Michter's, so there's a couple things that I want to call out. I mean,
Illuminati.
What's that? Illuminati. That's what it is.
It's
actually
secretive.
Before we get into this Michter's history, one thing I forgot to talk about was how beautiful the bottle is. We didn't even talk about this bottle. We got it in front of us, and it looks gorgeous. So can I ask you a question? This is a serious question.
All right.
I can remember getting allocated bottles. Like, okay, the first time I ever got a Van Winkle, the first time I ever got this bottle, the first time I ever got a Michter's 10. I got a Michter's 10 bourbon. A buddy of mine happened to be going out to the distillery, and this is when you could grab them at the distillery when they're pretty available for, I think they charge a little bit more, maybe 140 or 150 bucks. He goes out there and goes, hey man, I had my wife with me. They were 2 per. I got 2 ryes and 2 bourbons. Do you want one? Well, yeah, I want one. I've never seen one before. He comes and hands the bottle to me, and I had a moment where I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's a gorgeous bottle.
That's good looking.
I was like, and then I put it on my shelf, and this is going to sound so weird of me. I put it on the shelf, and I kept looking at it going, man, that's just a gorgeous bottle. And I come to think of it, do you know of any other bottles that look like the Michter's bottle? It's kind of got like a, I don't know. Like
it's tall, but a little oval.
But it's oval.
A little oval.
And they put that little netting around it a lot of times when they sell it. I don't even know what the netting's for. That plastic netting, is that to protect the bottle?
It's fragile.
Fragile. And it's got the wax on the top. It just is a really nice looking bottle. And so I wanted to say, if nothing else, the Michter's packaging is like top notch.
It is.
And it really does stand out from their regular line, which is mostly like in the, I don't know, oval looking medicine style. It looks like a large Boston Round, their regular bottles, don't they?
Yes. Are you, and then history on stuff, are you saying so 2019 is when they had? Because, I mean, I've got Michter's 10s that I've had from 2015, 2016. So where were they at then?
Right. So this is where I don't understand, and I'm sorry I got a little crazy there about the bottle. I just got so excited. I got so excited. I couldn't contain myself.
I don't mean to shift gears on it. I'm just, I had that thought in my mind, and I'm so old and senile that if I don't throw my thought out there, I'll forget it.
So the nearest I can tell is that Michter's is the brand that's originated in Pennsylvania, right? So they have a long history in Pennsylvania. They had there was a non-operational distillery in Schaeferstown, Pennsylvania. That was where what's known as first the Shanks Distillery, then the Baumberger's Distillery, and then was eventually known as Michter's. It closed in 1989 because they went bankrupt. So the one thing that I've not been able to, and probably some like really hardcore whiskey people here would probably slam me on this, but there was something called the Stoll and Wolf Distillery in Pennsylvania, and Dick Stoll was a very important master distiller who I think was one of the last master distillers of Michter's when it was in Pennsylvania. He passed away in 2020 at the age of 86, but I think that their operations then were mostly out of different places in Pennsylvania. So they were sourcing whiskey and they were bottling and shipping from Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken. I could be completely wrong about that. They may have had a home base in Kentucky. I wish I knew more about them, but that's why, like, I mean, wasn't there controversy? Like, I know I've joked in a previous episode about Michter's and George Washington and stuff, but wasn't there a controversy where they tried to claim that they made, like, the same whiskey?
I don't know.
That Washington,
but I know there's a lot of old dusty bottles, especially some really, really good ryes,
right? That
I'll see listed.
Those are Pennsylvania. They got to be.
But some of those they'll say like where they're not disclosed. There's big controversy of like, is this like someone will say, oh, this is rumored to be Michter's, and then somebody else will say it is not guaranteed to be that. You cannot list that because that changes the price huge in that secondary bottle.
Right. And I think that's part of the problem. So even like tonight, we're going to drink this Michter's 10, and I don't think anybody will say, like when we talk about mash bill is undisclosed because it's kind of a mystery of where this comes from. Now, some people have said this is their own juice, right? But it
ain't their own juice.
It can't be, right? There's no way. And I know previously I talked about this on an episode where I like the Michter's Barrel Strength Rye. That's the only thing we've ever reviewed on this podcast is Michter's Barrel Strength Rye. We've never done any other Michter's product. Ever.
Really? You didn't?
Never have done any other Michter's product.
Not the toasted. The toasted Barrel Strength Rye you do not do.
Just a regular Barrel Strength Rye.
Toasted Barrel Strength Rye is liquid candy dessert.
Yeah, I think that's one of their best products. But we just never reviewed it on this podcast. And the Barrel Strength Rye, just to give you an idea of the variance there could be in a distillate, right? I've shared that 2015 Barrel Strength Rye with you, right?
Yes.
And that one is
very good.
Phenomenal. The new ones are good, but they're nothing like that.
Right.
And so that has to signify that they're getting different distillate from different places, and they've always kept that a mystery. I've never heard anybody open a bottle of Michter's of any age and go, this comes from here, right?
Right. No, they are the biggest mystery. So I got a few friends,
Yep.
that are kind of like on the inside.
Inside man.
And they don't even know.
There you go.
Michter's is that tight. Now some of the Michter's I've had reminds me of like some premium Brown Foreman though.
Right. So
my guess is they're sourcing like some of it's like King Kentucky-esque. or like a more refined King of Kentucky, a little more delicate.
So let's peel off a little quick side story here before we get to nosing this.
Okay.
I don't know how much I'm allowed to say about this. Am I allowed to talk about when you hold your annual tasting? We've talked about that before, right? Best of. And so Kenny was kind enough to invite me last year to this Best of 2022 thing. And you guys have heard us mention Alves. Alves is a very generous dude. And one night we were getting ready to start our blinding for the Best of 2022. Alves just saunters on down to the basement. I don't know. He was wearing a long jacket too. I feel like this is the episode of long jackets. And out of the long jacket, he just pulls a Michter's 20 year. And everyone's like, oh, no, there's no way you're opening that. And I'm like, we're not opening it. He just sits down like the boss that he is and freaking proceeds to open that.
He opened that like I'd open like a new riff pick.
Right, exactly. So all of us are still in shock. Like, you got to clean everybody's jaw up off the ground. And then all of a sudden, he just like passed over the glasses. We're going to drink this. And the reason why I'm telling the story is because exactly what you said. All of us had our first sip of it, and we're like, oh, man, that's heavenly. And then we all looked at each other, and we're like, this tastes like it could be premium aged brown Foreman juice.
Yes. It tasted like a more refined, more delicate, more sophisticated King Kentucky.
Yeah. So it was just an experience and a half, and that was probably like something I'll probably never get to do ever again.
Yeah.
And I very much appreciate him. Like, that was amazing. But yeah, so that added more to the mystery of Michter's and where they're sourced and stuff. And that was one hell of a night. That was that probably goes down as one of the best nights in the history of for me, for whiskey anyway. It was just amazing. So
it was very good.
Well, should we go for a nosing of this?
Let's go for nose, man.
Okay, all right.
Cheers.
Cheers. Whoop.
Brown sugar. Vanilla. No, I'm just teasing. You seen that guy that does the ice cream tasting?
No.
That's what I was playing off of. You have to watch that video. I mean, he's literally like the world-renowned, the best, whatever, taster for, I forget the ice cream brand.
Breyers.
It might be. I don't know what it is. It is the funniest video. You got to watch that.
I stuck my nose on these moose tracks.
All like, really? And then he says this. And dude, it's a trip.
He gets after it, huh? Man, this is, the nosing of this is just, is sick. There's a little nice hint of vibrant cherry. There's almost like a caramel sweetness, like a sweetness.
This nose is actually really good.
Yeah, I don't describe many noses as gorgeous, but this is a gorgeous nose. This is a nose job.
What is this, 94.7?
94.4, I believe.
94.4.
Yeah.
All right. And that's my thing. So you talked about when you first got your Michter's 10, or got the rye and all that. So
yep.
I acquired, Michter's 10 rye, acquired Michter's 10 bourbon, acquired the barrel strength rye, the barrel strength bourbon, blah, blah. And we talked last episode about my $70 rule.
Right.
And that's part of what led into me establishing that $70 rule.
Was Michter's?
Was I did not open my Michter's 10.
Okay.
Or my Michter's 10 rye, either one. Another buddy had one open, and I was like, this is not worth the $250 that I paid secondary for this.
Right.
Actually, back then it was probably $200 back then. But I was like, this is not worth $200 that I just paid for it. So I went ahead and just moved those to get something else instead. But it was very good, but it was not that $200 good. This is nosing, I think, a little bit better than that, though.
Yeah, it is. And I do remember my first experience with Michter's 10 as well. And I remember it being a smooth drink, but not something that I would like ride home about, like, oh, yeah, this is smooth, but I'm going to go drink more of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's everybody's palate's different. What they want is different. I'm looking for that quote-unquote flavor ride. I like something that's a little different sometimes.
Right.
Lower proof bourbons usually aren't my jam as much, but we'll see.
That's kind of what got me. I had other lower proof bourbons that I really liked. And this one, back when I had it, which was 2019, didn't really like blow me away. I just thought to myself, like, this is that well-aged bourbon for the bourbon drinker who doesn't want to taste nice oak and everything, just wants a smooth drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, this is nosing way better than my other ones that I've had that I can remember from.
Oh yeah, very pleasant. A lot of nice. There's actually even a little spice too. It's got a nice nose. It's very rounded.
Cherry is definitely prevalent.
Cherry's very prevalent.
So if you've heard me talk before, my nose sucks. I'm so typically congested or allergies and stuff. But I am actually pulling a few notes off of this one. This is actually good. So
it's
I like this nose.
Lower proof for you. It's not the barrel strength where all the notes are just
that's true.
Monster together.
Could be.
You ready to go for a taste?
Or it could be that cologne you're wearing.
Cologne. Am I wearing cologne?
Yeah, it smells like onions. You wearing onion cologne, garlic cologne?
No, that's just me eating like Greek food and sweating it out.
I got you.
Through the pores is garlic sweat.
Let's go for a taste.
All right, sounds good. Huh.
I'm still letting the finish go.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on for 94 proof.
There is.
There's a lot going on for 94 proof.
So you're the expert here, sir. Doesn't this remind you a little bit of like nice premium turkey? And if you say no, my feelings won't be hurt because I don't taste a lot of premium turkey, but this is like...
No, turkey is so cherry strong.
This is cherry.
And I think that's why...
This is cherry cola.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I think that's why...
cherry cola.
That's why you're drawing that conclusion, I believe.
Okay. Yeah.
So think about, just real quick side note, don't want to go off on it all.
Right.
This is 94 proof.
Uh-huh.
Think about a Blanton's at 93 proof.
Oh.
Blanton's is water compared to what this is, right?
I feel like...
And I don't want to keep talking about it, just quick little tidbit. But
I just want to say something. Anytime I hear anybody say anything about Blanton's, I think about Iron Sheik waxing about Hulk Hogan. Like, oh, come on, Hulk Hogan's not the best wrestler. Just like people are like, oh, Blanton's. I'm like, oh, come on, we're going to talk about Blanton's now?
I'm just saying about how much is going on in your mouth right now, this palate, for 94 proof compared to Blanton at 93.
Yeah, no, that's
huge difference.
Huge difference, yeah. Wow, this is like, to me, like a cherry vanilla bomb. Subtle oak. When I say subtle oak, I mean that the oakiness is not really prevalent. It's actually kind of muted. It actually finishes very not spicy at all. Do you get any spice in this? What spice are you getting?
Clovey, maybe. Clove. This is you can definitely tell it's got some age to it, but it's not tannic. This is very well done.
And the mouthfeel's not really thin either. It's got a really nice mouthfeel.
That's very thick.
Medium to thick.
Viscous,
medium thick, yeah. And you don't get that on young age. I mean, sorry, not young age. You don't get that on low proof usually. Low proof is a little bit more thin at times.
It is thin usually.
Yeah.
Wow, this is a lot going on for 94 proof. I like that.
I like it a lot too. So when we're thinking about Michters and we're thinking about the stuff that's on the shelf, right? So their core line, I think you mentioned a little bit about this. You said it helped you break your $70 rule because of your previous experience with it, but it's really interesting. Their core products are what? American whiskey, American unblended whiskey. It's got like a purple label. Then they got single barrel rye. I don't know why they do single barrel rye. They got small batch bourbon. And then do they have anything else? Is it just those three or there's a fourth one? Isn't there a fourth one?
They do that sour mash.
Oh, sour mash. I was forgetting sour mash.
No, not the expensive sour barrel proof or sour, whatever, for toasted, just the regular sour.
Regular sour. So that's their four core products. And then they got barrel strength rye, barrel strength bourbon, and then toasted rye, toasted bourbon, toasted sour mash.
Now, if any of our listeners are on the fence about a rye, it's actually a pretty good one to start with.
Which one? The regular Michter
because
rye?
I think it's like 56% rye.
Right.
So it's not that crazy high 95.5 type thing. So
I'd agree with that.
It's a little more bourbon-esque.
Rye is actually one of my favorite things that Michter's does. So, and then once you get past that, then you get to what I call their mid-tier premium, which is what we're drinking tonight, which is the 10-year rye, 10-year bourbon. And then once you go over that, oh, mama, right? Celebration, 25 of rye and everything else. Like stuff that there's only, maybe 200, 300 bottles produced each year.
And those go for $5,000 to $15,000.
Yeah. I just remember the one year there was a massive controversy. Do you remember, were you on the, I don't know how long ago this was. I don't know if this was 2 years ago, but there was a guy
that had the fake one.
That had the fake one. Do you remember that?
And it looked like that on Play-Doh.
Yeah, it was like a 600 comment thread.
Dude.
And everybody who was anybody in whiskey was like commenting on this thread. And Adam Hurst was involved. Like the
wax looked like Play-Doh, literally.
I know, but think about it. I think that eventually they found that he didn't like try to pass it off as fake.
He was selling it, not realizing that he had got duped himself, evidently.
Right.
But yeah, he got duped.
But that's the thing. When you get into those ultra-aged ones, not that, I mean, any of our listeners, are you ever going to find a chance to buy one? I've never had the opportunity to buy one of those. If it weren't for Alva's, I probably would have never tasted one. But
I mean, the opportunity's there to buy it, but there's no freaking way I'm dropping anything that on them.
Yeah,
can't do that.
$5,000's a lot. So, but that's a word to the wise when it comes to any of these more highly allocated bottles. I think those ones have like matching box serial numbers or handwritten numbers, and that one not only looked like Play-Doh, but it had like a lot of other stuff going on. But that was a fun morning. I remember waking up, seeing all those comments. And then I didn't participate, of course, but I sure
I like to read them.
Sure as heck read it. Yeah, right? That was good bathroom material. Anytime something crazy happens to bourbon, especially on national, it's great bathroom material. So it's good stuff.
I know it sounds so generic and plain for me to say it. This will be the third time saying it, but there's a lot going on for 94 proof.
I can candidly say that this is, again, because these are single barrel, right? I'm pretty sure that all the releases that they do are single barrel of the 10-year.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, though, I have to look at that. It's one of those things where it could be a batch still.
Still could be a batch, depending on how they name it.
I bet it's a batch, actually.
And that's the thing. They put out different series, different numbers, but I think on the front of the label it might say single barrel.
It might say single barrel, but I've heard from different people that that doesn't mean anything. It's just a TTB thing or a placeholder. I bet these are batched.
Okay, they would have to be, I would think, especially if people could pick out global differences.
Yeah.
If not, if there was like...
That's why they got A, B, C, D, right?
Yeah, let's say that A had 10 barrels. There'd have to be a difference between the 10 barrels.
Yeah,
they couldn't all be the same.
batch.
So, yeah.
Man, that's good.
That is really tasty.
Well, you up for my curveball or you me not do a curveball?
You could, but it'll involve you having to pour me more of your whiskey because I drank that because that was good.
That's right.
Yeah, I housed
you drank all that?
It's housed.
Oh
It's
my
gone.
gosh.
Yeah.
I got a little bit left of this one.
No, you don't. You can curveball me or you don't have to. Okay.
I do, so hang tight.
Okay. So, Kenny, what kind of a blind do we have here? I know you can't tell me what it is, but like, what are you proud of what you've done here?
I want to get something that is potentially close in proof, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe not. It's not the same proof by any means, but close. Potentially close in age, potentially close in value, just somewhere in the ballpark. Not close, but in the ballpark. So that way, before you do pass, try, buy, I want to give you another benchmark, another. What's it? When I'm losing
whatever you want to say, something to compare it to. And here's the thing: I am always for that because that means that I get to drink more cool whiskey with you. So why wouldn't I want to have a blind? Of course, I want a blind. Hey guys, Kenny's blind to me again. Oh, I don't think I could do that.
You never know.
Yeah,
I know some people get sick of hearing me talk about blinds, but yeah. It
is what it is,
bro. It is what it is. I mean, I have got so many whiskeys that I've drank before I started blinding stuff that I was like, oh, it's so great. And then we blinded. It's like, dude, this was not good.
Well, can I ask you a question real quick about this? Did you pick this for any particular reason? Because the nose actually is like semi-similar. It's not similar, but it's semi-similar in a sense that I'm picking up a little bit more cherry, maybe a little bit of the licorice note, maybe a little bit of strawberry. At least on the nose, I am. It's really weird. It's getting a little bit of fruits. It's a fruit. I like to say fruit
just because of the ballpark of proof, ballpark of age, ballpark of pricing point.
Okay. Well, I can tell you this. On the first sip, that was definitely strawberry I was getting because I'm tasting strawberry now. Maybe I spoke it into the glass.
Gosh dang it, dude. That goes so good.
Man. So give me a hard choice here because this is like, wow, that's really tasty. That's like fresh berries. And I like fresh berries a lot.
To me, this crushes the Michters, but
yeah,
I'm not going to say that. Or, I shouldn't have said that.
You did say it.
I shouldn't have said that. I should ask your opinion first. I'm sorry.
But wait, hold on. You didn't taint my opinion. I'm drinking it. I know what it tastes like. It tastes very good.
And I do like the Michters.
I feel like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I like this blind because all the way through, from the first thing you taste to the end, it's less complex, but it's more of what I like. I feel like the Michters might be a little bit more complex than this. Oh, man. That's like strawberry frosting cake. Yeah.
It's good.
Sweetie. That's a sweetie.
But I think I like this better than the Michters. But the Michters I was very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. I think I kind of know where I'm going to go with this one. But I think, you know what, Kenny? I think it's time for you to lead the way. So, Kenny Mills, would you pass, try, or buy on this bottle of Michter's 10-year Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey?
I am a try.
Okay, please explain.
180 retail, and I was at Liquor Barn when this dropped earlier this year.
Okay.
I was fifth in line. They only had 3 bottles.
Ooh, and what were they charging? Do you know? Because 180 retail was retail.
They were probably around 180, 190.
Oh, really? That's
nice.
That's nice of LB to do that.
They're not Total Wine, right?
Yeah, but still, sometimes they
they
freaking jack the prices.
So for me, these Michters have been $350-ish.
Okay.
On the enthusiast market.
Yes. I love the way you use that now. Thank you.
Yeah, well,
Enthusiast markets.
So $3.50. So if you're at a bar, at a restaurant, I think this is worth trying because it's definitely one of the most complex, very long finish, a lot going on for a 94 proof bourbon.
Right, absolutely. And this time around, I think that what you've done is you've actually made me a try. Now, this is collective because it's based on a couple of things. I have owned and drank 2 bottles of Michter's 10 dating back to 19. So that means when I had it, I thought I liked it, I opened it, and I drank it. And then I got it again and opened it and drank it. After the second time of drinking a bottle of Michter's 10, which I realize that sounds very snobbish to me. Most people aren't going to have a bottle to even open.
Right. Not everybody has access as a manager at Total Wine.
At Total Wine, yeah, exactly.
Have the access to the back.
So after drinking 2 bottles of it, I really didn't think that I wanted it anymore. And the reason being is because the Michters that I liked more was like the barrel strength rye and other things else. That's just
so good.
I just liked it more, and I thought to myself, why would I try to chase this? Because it was creeping up in price. Even if it was $130, they're charging more for it. I think the last time I bought it was $189.99. That's why I asked what Liquor Barn's charging. And this was pleasantly surprising. If you hadn't busted out this blind, which I want to know what it is here in a second.
Yeah. So before you go past your eye, though, I wanted to get you a small. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I want you to have a small reveal.
A small reveal.
So. Okay. The one that I gave you,
right,
you will not be able to find in the stores anymore.
Right.
It was in the stores.
Ooh.
However, the enthusiast market is not much different than what it was in the stores.
Really?
So in the enthusiast market, the blind I gave you would be about $300.
Okay.
And the enthusiast market for the Michter's 10 is about $350.
Oh.
So now that you know that,
yes,
that might determine your past try-by.
Yeah, no, it does. And that's the thing.
Or influence your past try-by.
Yeah, what you gave me made me question. I was going to say I would have probably been a try on a Michter's, and then after I tasted this year's, I thought, I'm going to buy it. And then you put the blind in front of me, and I'm like, no, I'm back to a try. And I'm solidly there. I'm with you on that. It's a try for me. Not because I dislike it, just for the money. I'm probably not going to find it at $185. I'm probably going to have to hunt it at $300 to $350.
Right.
And I think at $300 to $350, I'm thinking since you just told me this thing was in the stores at $300, whatever the blind was. I mean that was nice, man. Little strawberry cake. I'll take that second one. What was that?
So the blind that I gave you was the Remus Gatsby 15-year.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but that's why I wanted to do that blind. It's a 15-year MGP.
I know exactly what this whiskey is.
It is. Here's the thing, though. It's barrel proof.
At what, 90
at
something? At
98.1.
Right.
So that's why there's so much going on at 98 proof. So it's 15-year. This year's Michter's is rumored to be 14.
Right.
Maybe 15. Mm-hmm. 98 proof. The Michter's is 94. But the Michter's secondary or enthusiast market is 350.
Yeah.
The Gatsby is 300.
Yeah. So Kenny, the reason why I'm so happy over here and I'm laughing is because
don't you have a couple Gatsbys?
Yeah. Do you remember what happened with the Gatsby?
You got a deal on one, and now I remember thinking back.
I bought a bottle of it. I can't remember where I got it. I may have got it at Jackson's. I think I got it at Jackson's. And then I wasn't opening it, and I tried it here one night. Yeah. And I was like, dang, that is good.
Yeah.
And so I was like, then I go home and I open my bottle and I'm like, yeah, that's good. And then I hunted and I think I grabbed 2 more. So I think I have 2 of these sitting upstairs in the closet.
So
and
good.
I'm dang glad to have them because one I did get at retail. Somebody just wanted to dump it because they didn't think it had any secondary value. So I think I got $250? $260?
I thought you got it under retail. I thought you got it for $225.
$225. Yeah, I think it was $225.
Which is under retail.
I actually met a nice
retail was $250.
I met a nice gentleman in the Total Wine parking lot to get that one.
No, because I remember that you were getting it for under retail.
Yes, and so that is actually confirmation, and I'm glad that was the blind because that's a really great comparison, and it also is a whiskey that what's amazing about what we do? Even though I didn't know that was Gatsby, now that you've revealed it, I'm thinking to myself, that's exactly why I bought 2 backup bottles of it because that was damn good.
So good.
And here in a blind, not even knowing what it is, I'm still going, man, you know what? I think I like that better than I like the Michter's. Yeah. And it doesn't. So that's proof. That's proof right there of what we're trying to do, why it's important to do this kind of stuff, where we can review a bottle. We can definitely review that Michter's and tell you whether or not it's good. If you can get it at retail, you know what? Are you going to buy it at retail?
At retail, you have to buy it.
You have to buy it at retail.
For me. But I would not open it.
Right.
To be honest with you.
Well, that's the thing.
But I'm a try.
That's why we're trying.
I'm a solid try because somebody needs to taste it, in my opinion. I would still try it. But personally, I'm not going to open a bottle.
Right.
I would sell it and then buy a Gatsby and pocket $50.
Well, there you go. Exactly. And that, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, is how you do bourbon math.
I know. I hate to be like that, but it is.
And if you have the opportunity, then maybe you can go out and find where Michter's originated there with George Washington in Pennsylvania.
And with that, thanks for listening to this week's edition. Please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Mashup KY.
Don't forget to visit our partner, bourbonoutfitter.com. Enter code The Mashup for a special discount.
Also, let us know your thoughts on this bottle in the comment section. Until next time, keep it neat.